Hey, it's Matthew Berry from the Fantasy Focus Football Podcast. Today on the show, Stefania Bell, Field Yates, and myself look back to the barn burner that was Thursday night. Plus, we preview all the Week 10 games. Who's in, who's out, who should you play, and who should you avoid.
Lashke, Kalishaw, Blackistone, and McMullen. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, Seahawks-Patriots, Cowboys-Steelers, Iverson practice, and Ryan Miller save.
Icy weekend.
Let's go around
That is awesome. Buffalo never should have let him go. How come he's not with the Buffalo Sabres?
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reali.
It was 7-6 Browns at half with Cody Kessler at quarterback. It was 28-7 Ravens final with Josh McCown playing the second half. This is not musical chairs, Hugh Jackson said after benching Kessler for McCown. But before saying he'll start Kessler again next week while listening to music, looking for a chair. Bill Plaschke, first to you. What is this about?
You know, I don't know what this is about, but I don't know why we're making a big deal about it. It didn't change it. So we're fighting over McCown and Cody Kessler. The Browns are 21st in offense. They're 31st in defense. They can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. They can't stop the run. They've allowed 25 points in 11, at least 25 points in 11 straight games. That's the second longest in the NFL. Are you kidding me? So we're worried about who he's putting as quarterback? All this is about is musical chairs, and it's exactly the opposite of what he said. He's just trying to rearrange things to see what can work. I don't blame him. This team is terrible, and we're fighting about the quarterback. No.
So you think it's rearranging musical chairs on the deck of the Titanic or something?
That's kind of a mixed metaphor, but yeah.
Tim Kalishaw, how about you?
No, I blame Hugh Jackson. I think he's had a rough year, and I thought he was going to have a good year, knowing quarterbacks the way he does, doing the job he did with Andy Dalton. And his first order of business was to go get RG3. And, we won't see him for I don't know how long. And then it looked like a couple weeks ago, okay, we're 0-7. We're committing to Cody Kessler, the guy we drafted in the third round. Fine, makes sense. You're losing a game 13-7, and you pull him from McCown, a guy in his 30s who clearly isn't your future. What exactly are they playing for? I don't think Hugh Jackson knows.
Kevin Blackistone?
I'm just trying to figure out how Terrell Pryor didn't get in under center last night. That's amazing. He may be the best quarterback of them all. But you know what? You got to go with Cody Kessler here. You got nothing else to lose with this football team. It's been one of the worst football teams, not only this year and last year, but for the last 12, 14 seasons. They've been pretty much in last place. They are searching for something. And you know what? The only something you have in terms of a quarterback are the young guys. And there was really no reason last night to play musical chairs with those quarterbacks. Just leave the young guy in, who now you've already committed to after you lost this game, realizing that was a mistake in the first place.
Jackie McMullen.
But I think what he was trying to do there, KB, is he would talk all week with Kessler about third down conversions and being better and more aggressive in third down. And now Cody Kessler over the last two games is 2 for 15 in third down situations. And I think that's why Hugh Jackson pulled him out of this game. And I don't think it was to punish Cody Kessler as much to just say, hey, let's sit back, let's watch this a little bit. The problem is it's like choosing between beets and lima beans for dinner. I mean, I don't want either. I don't know about you guys. Oh. I prefer Brussels sprouts.
Browns have to have a quarterback, Jackie. Let me ask you this then. At 0-10, what do you think Browns management thinks Hugh Jackson's goal should be? To settle on a quarterback, to win a few games, to seal up the number one pick, or just not to embarrass themselves?
They have to win one game. Now, who wants to be with the Detroit Lions? Nobody. They got to win one game, and I don't know if they will. This was the one they should have won.
Plaschke, you want to answer that question?
Yeah, they got to win one game. I think they can beat the Bengals after the bye week coming up here. But don't forget, the last time they won a game, Johnny Manziel was their quarterback. So we're arguing about who the quarterback is? They got much bigger problems than that.
Kalishaw?
I think it's a combination. You play to win. You're never completely thinking about the future. But at the quarterback position, it's not like you have this great alternative to Cody Kessler. So keep seeing if the young guy can play.
Blackistone.
Yeah, you just got to leave him in. You know, it doesn't matter at this point whether you win one game or you don't win any games. It's not going to change your fortunes going forward. So just try and develop the quarterback.
We've been Horn. We'll move on. Seahawks-Patriots Sunday. Last time they met, the Super Bowl. And there are some people of your ilk who think they can meet there again. First question, is anybody willing to say that this could be a Super Bowl preview? I don't see any takers. All right, I'll ask you, Timmy, first. What do you need to see this weekend to convince you that could be a possibility?
Well, I don't need to see much from New England. I think Brady and the Patriots are taking care of business at their end. But the other team has been the luckiest team in the NFL this year. I know your record, you are what your record says you are. They're not. They're a 4-4 team that happens to be 5-2-1 because the refs missed a call on Julio Jones getting interfered by Richard Sherman that would have changed the game. The last week, I don't know that changed the game, but it certainly altered things for Buffalo at halftime. They got extremely lucky. Not a ref's call, but just a 24-yard field goal missed by Arizona. They got a tie instead of a win. So their defense isn't what it used to be. They can't run the ball. The only thing they got going for them is they have rediscovered Jimmy Graham, but that's not going to be enough.
Kevin Blackistone?
Well, the other thing they do have going for him, though, is Russell Wilson is getting healthier. We saw that last week when he was able to scamper into the end zone off a design run, and he is finding and getting more comfortable with Jimmy Graham being around. So that is something to hang their hat on. Of course, you're absolutely right. Their big problem is they can't run the ball right now. They don't have Marshawn Lynch is not walking through that locker room door right now, and that's a big, big problem. And their defense is not the shutdown defense that it once was. However, the conference that they play in is still wide open. I know the Cowboys are sitting down there in Dallas, 7-1 and all that, but you know what? They still got a rookie running back and a rookie quarterback, and they still got Jerry Jones trying to figure out if he might do something with that quarterback.
Jackie Mack.
Yeah, and you know what? These two teams, because I've been around them a lot, you almost have to throw a lot of the records and stuff out the window when these two teams play.
Throw those records out the window.
No, I mean, I think that's very true. All right. Well, perhaps you disagree, which is fine. I'll carry on best I can with my shredded topic. But I think the problem with Seattle is I don't know if they can score enough against the Patriots to win. We know the Patriots are going to score. Can Seattle score enough with no running game? Rawls got hurt early, and Russell Wilson's been good downfield, but they don't put a lot of points on the board. And you have to put a lot of points on the board if you're going to beat the New England Patriots at home, especially.
Okay. Put some points on the board last week versus Buffalo. How about you, Bill Plaschke?
You know, everybody wants to build this up, but this is as one-sided of a big game as I can ever recall. New England's great. They're running they're almost to the Super Bowl right now. Seattle just needs to try to get home field, try to get one home field game. You know, they're 30th in the league in yards per rush. They've allowed 120 yards rushing at least the last 3 games. Wilson's still hurt. He's not the same player. They're not the same Seattle team we've seen in the past. And I sat here and watched the Rams beat him, so how good can they be?
Okay, I mean, why even pick this game? I mean, no one thinks this is going to be a ball game this weekend. Kalisha, you got the Patriots big?
I do.
Patriots
coming off a bye week, 12-4.
Okay, Blackistone, comfortable for the Patriots?
Absolutely.
Very comfortable.
All right, Jack, you threw out the record, so, I mean, I guess this is just an even game for you then.
I think the Patriots will win, but I don't think it's going to be like you guys all do by big touchdowns.
Over-under, one fine for Richard Sherman after this week. How bogus was that? They didn't even throw a flag for the roughing, and he's the one that gets fined. Meanwhile, no public reprimand for the referees at all from last week. We're going to move on. We've been horned.
Watch that.
Here's what this Golden State Warriors team does better than anybody. They snap personal streaks. Roll tape. Curry's 3-point game streak done last week, and then last night, Durant's 20-point game streak, which was 4th all-time. Poof. Kerr played him the first half of the 4th quarter. Golden State up 20+. Then sat him the last 5 minutes of the game. Quote, there's going to be a lot of that stuff this year. People talking about stats and records, who's scoring, who's not. The only way this is going to work is if guys throw out all that out the window. Jackie? We're not in buy or sell yet, but buy or sell Kerr there.
Yeah, I'm buying him because I think it makes perfect sense. And but he did. It's not like he sat Durant and didn't play him at all. There's a play there where he got called for an offensive foul. He got tangled up, and I think that's when Kerr said, "You know what? At the expense of getting him injured or anything else, we're going to win this game." They had 13 players that scored in this game. He did the absolute right thing.
Plaschke?
Yeah, you know, that's the whole thing. I think the underlying theme in any struggles they've had this year is that, well, maybe they're going to rely on Durant too much. And Kerr's saying right now, no, that's not going to happen. We got to get Draymond Green more involved. We got to try to help Klay Thompson get his season started. And you've seen when they've struggled, they've looked at Durant more. It's a very purposeful thing that Steve Kerr did and a very smart thing that he did.
Kalisha?
If Durant could have made a 3 here or there, he would have had his 20, but he didn't make any of his 3s, so he didn't get to 20 points last night, which I really doubt he cares about, because if he cared about that sort of thing, somebody would have said, if you stay in Oklahoma City, you might break Kareem's all-time scoring record. You're going to get close. You're not going to get close if you go play with Curry and Thompson and Green. But to the point of Steve Kerr, I think he's trying to figure out who his bench is, what his rotation is going to be. That's why he's got 13 guys out there that he's looking at.
Blackistone.
Yeah, Kevin Durant did not go to the Golden State Warriors in order to continue his 20-point game streak. He went out there to get to a championship series and to win the championship series. And not only that, I'm not surprised at all that this streak finally came to an end with Golden State. When you got all those scores around you, it was going to happen sooner or later just because someone else, or maybe two someone else's, were going to be going off in one single game.
Latchkey back in.
Isn't it interesting? All summer we said, Kevin Durant's so selfish going to Golden State. Now it's, he's so unselfish going to Golden State. How that narrative changed on a dime.
Yeah, Jackie, Tim said Durant doesn't care about this. You think he cares about this? How should he feel about it?
Well, he was aware of it, and he admitted that afterwards. I don't think he's thrilled that the streak is over, but I don't think he's angry at Steve Kerr for taking him out either. So he's neutral. It's good.
Did any of you guys know he even had this streak? Going into the game or even after the game, did you know
I
this
didn't know
was something
streak existed.
Did you know what the all-time streak was?
126.
Will Chamberlain, 126. Yep. He could score on the court and off it. We're going to take a break right here. Buy or sell is next.
How do you know that, Jackie? How do you know that?
I looked it up.
Yeah, well, I knew you looked it up.
This is Larry Culpepper, inventor of the college football playoff. Goes without saying that I know about a good idea or two when it comes to college football. And the best idea out there is to subscribe to the Championship Drive podcast in the Listen tab of your ESPN app.
Buy or sell.
Dak Prescott, 7 straight wins. It's the 3rd longest streak ever for a rookie to start a career. The man who possesses the longest streak, Ben Roethlisberger. And it's Cowboys-Steelers Sunday. Bill Plaschke, start with you. Who's got more pressure on him this week? Ben, off the loss and injury, or Dak with the shadow of Romo, whose status this week has still not been ruled out?
You would think that it would be Ben because they're 4-4 and struggling, but no, it's all about Dak to me because, again, his job is not, unbelievably, somehow, doesn't seem safe. It seems like one time if he stumbles in the first half, people are going to be talking about it. And I think for the Cowboys to advance through the postseason, they need Dak. He needs to have a good game. It's on him.
Do you agree with that, Tim Kalisha?
I do not agree with that, Tony Reali. It's much bigger for Ben Roethlisberger. Steelers are 4-4. They got to get this losing streak behind them. They got to get things moving, and they're trying to do it against a very good team. I believe Dak can have 1.5 to 2 bad games in a row before anyone even starts thinking about Tony Romo.
That's a
One
lot.
bad game against the Steelers is not going to send him to the bench against the Ravens next.
What's going on today where the Cowboys are not putting him on the injured list or saying he's out yet they're holding Tony Romo back? What's that about, Tim?
Well, I mean, I think they're trying to figure out if they can afford to make Romo the backup because you only suit up 2 quarterbacks. And if something happened to Dak early, is Tony capable of going in and playing 4 quarters? And they're still not certain.
Tony's always capable of going in. Let's go into KB right now.
And that's why there's no pressure on Dak Prescott because there's a big question mark with Tony Romo. All the pressure is on Ben Roethlisberger. They've lost 3 in a row. He came back last week, hobbled, completed 23 of 45 passes, couldn't get the job done. Of course, his teammates didn't help him out with a lot of drop passes. But still, they thought that was going to right the ship in Pittsburgh. It hasn't. All the pressure is on the Steelers.
Jackie McMullen.
I think the pressure's on Roethlisberger, too. But the one thing about that game you're referencing, KB, was in the 4th quarter. You started to see all the rust come off. He became the old Roethlisberger. But the stat that jumps out about me with Roethlisberger, 4 of 19 in the last couple of weeks, and he passes 20-plus yards down the field. And if Pittsburgh wants to keep going, he's going to have to do a little better than that going forward.
Who you got in this game, Plaschke?
Oh, I have the Steelers win the game. They'll win the game.
Dallas in a close one.
KB?
Dallas.
Jackie?
Dallas.
We'll move on. Buy or sell 2, 4-4 Saints at 6-3 Broncos. Timmy, who needs this one more?
Well, I think it's the Saints because I think even though the Broncos are stumbling, they can find a way to be a wild card team even if they don't catch the Raiders or the Chiefs, whoever ends up winning that division. The Saints, we thought they were done. They look like they've got a chance. They got a big game Thursday with Carolina. To make that meaningful, they need a win here Sunday.
KB?
I think it's the defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, all of a sudden, they don't look like they know how to defend anymore. Trevor Siemian, the glow is off of him. He's got to get back going again. They got to let him throw the ball. They got to trust him. And this is the perfect game to do it against a team like the Saints with the 30th worst defense in the league.
Jackie Mack?
Yeah, it's all about the Broncos. Talib's going to be out again this week. Now Wolf is out this week. You've got Simeon, who everyone's like, see, you got stuck with Osweiler. We have Simeon. Now all of a sudden, over the last few weeks, he's only completing about 54% of his passes. Again, not going to get it done. Tons of pressure on him in particular.
Flash.
Yes, Tim, it's all about the Broncos. Expectations for the Saints weren't that high. The Broncos now couldn't possibly not make the playoffs because the Raiders and Chiefs are both playing so well. They're averaging 2.4 yards per rush since C.J. Anderson went down. They were fourth in the league in allowing rushing yards. Those are their strengths last year. That's what carried them. Again, defending Super Bowl champions, all on them.
We're going to go around the horn again with a pick'em because I got some Utes to hand out on Monday. Go ahead, Flashkey. Who you got in this game?
Broncos.
Kalishaw.
Denver finds a way.
Stone.
Broncos.
Mac.
Broncos.
4 for 4. Wow. We'll move on. All right, favorite story in the show. Iverson practice. When you hear Allen Iverson was at Sixers practice this week, helping out the winless team, talking about playing to win games, not to avoid losing games. Kevin, what do you find yourself thinking?
I'm thinking, wow, how mature this guy has become as an elder statesman for the game. You know what? He is basketball royalty. He is a legend in the urban game. This is a great thing for him to come back. You're talking about a guy who's a rookie of the year, MVP, carried that team 1 year up against the Lakers in the finals. I mean, this guy's done it all in the first.
Nobody's questioning that. I mean, he's a legend in every game, right?
That's a great thing.
He's in the Hall of Fame here. But he's at a practice and he's talking to the team and with young minds. Jackie, what type of effect do you think it could have on this team?
Well, you know, he is one of these rare guys, Tony, that guys before him, during, and after him all give him a ton of street cred. I don't think it's going to actually make them win 5 more games. But what it might do is when things get really low and it gets really frustrating, they might harken back to that, hey, you know what, be patient. I was there and we turned it around. That's what it's going to do.
Okay. Flashkey.
I've got a question. How many of these young guys snickered and imitated the practice rant after he left or behind his ear?
You think snicker? I think
when he's back with
I think when he left, all time for that.
Yes, but you know these kids. A lot of these kids probably never even saw him play. It's been 6 years since he's been in the league. No, I'm serious.
Not 30 years, Flashkey. It's 6 years.
No, I just think I've seen young athletes with older athletes. I'm not so sure they respected him.
This guy's different.
Kalish, how about you?
I think in general, Plasky's right, but not with Allen Iverson. There are some athletes that are just special to all of us. I remember sitting in Texas Stadium at a Monday night game 10 years ago, and I looked up in the row behind me. There was Allen Iverson in a Jason Witten jersey sitting there watching the game by himself. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And these players, they know who he is. They've seen the videos if they don't remember the game.
Jackie, did you want to add anything?
I did want to tell Bill Plaschke that Ben Simmons not only had an Iverson poster on his wall, he actually wore cornrows to be like him. Okay?
There you go. Flashkey, you're just falling off the table right here.
Yeah, but the average kid doesn't.
Jackie and Bill can finish this conversation later. I don't think anybody's snickering about the Iverson practice. I think that's a celebration of Iverson. We're going to take a break and showdown next for Timmy and Kev.
Scott Burnside, ESPN.com here on the latest edition of Hockey Today, the podcast. We hear from Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers. Trevor Daley of the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins stops by. And so does Charlie Coyle of the Minnesota Wild.
He's gone. Empty net. He's trying to get back. Zetterberg sees the empty net. Oh, save!
Oh, man. Look at that. Look at that. Ryan Miller, Tim Kalishaw. Save of the year or save of the ever?
Save of the year. It's a fantastic athletic play. I realize there's a quick turnaround at the other end. I don't know why he was that far out of the net. I'm not sure. But I'm going to go with best ever. I can still remember Dominik Hasek sprawled out. He's on his back, and he has to lift his leg up and do a kick save up near the crossbar. Give me that one.
Come on, but I thought that you witnessed one of the greatest save ever. Game 7, overtime, Edmonton. Curtis Joseph on Joey Nieuwendyk for the Stars reaches back across like this to save it. I mean, Nieuwendyk was right there for the winner. That was unbelievable, and all the pressure.
That was an incredible amount of information. Kevin Blackstone just absolutely nailed to win the points. Miller was leaving the ice because he was getting pulled. It was the end of the game, Timmy. We'll move on. Showdown 2. USC Washington. Last week, number 4 in the college football playoff went down. This week, Washington's got a tough one. Kevin, When we meet again Monday, will UW still be in the top 4?
They will be in the top 4. They will be spotless. They will take care of USC. I know I can hear Bill Plaschke going saying something. Oh, the Trojans are surging. The Trojans are surging. They're 6-3. Look, last week Washington handled Utah in Utah, a very tough place to win against a tough team. They'll be fine.
This has nothing to do with the text Bill Plaschke just sent me. I think USC is going to win this game. I think Washington is going to fall. I think the Trojans have righted the ship since early in the season. I think Washington's a little bit overrated, a little bit, but I still think they have a path to the college football playoff. Even
with a loss, you think they have a path?
They have a path.
I got the same text from Plaschke you got, and he's saying it's over. I mean, muting Plaschke, he's not even in the showdown. Blackstone's getting the point. We're going to move on. Showdown 3. The iguana. Stunning upset over the snake. A curiosity of monkeys. Now they have my attention. The spider monkey. Look at his posture. Worthy of Pilates. Tim, who won the week in the wild on planet Earth?
It was a great week, but give me that spider monkey walking out into the fairway saying, did you just hit into me? What are you doing back there? He's looking at that cart behind him. I like what the iguana was the biggest upset of the week, but you're right. The posture, I have to go with the snow monkey.
Yeah, but what about the invasion of all those, what are those called? Man, I would have been running. This is why I don't play golf. This can happen to you anytime. You can be chased by all these things at once and look like an episode of Wild Kratts or something, except the brothers aren't there to save you. Or what are we doing now? What are we going? We turning into World Star Hip Hop? Next thing we know, we're going to show that tape.
We turned into Planet Earth. World Stars next week. That's going to be great when we do that. Kevin Blackstone's getting the face. 30 seconds.
Close.
Thank you very much. And as you know, I am a Big Ten man. Went to Northwestern, now have an association with the University of Maryland. And if there's one thing I really hate all of a sudden about the Big Ten, it's this stupid idea they came up with to play football on Friday nights. Nothing but a money grab. Going to take kids out of the classroom a little bit more. And guess what? They're not making the big schools in the Big Ten play these games. They're making Northwestern play them. They're making Maryland play a couple when this thing starts. And what's this going to do to the tradition of Friday night football in all these cities? This is a horrible idea. Somebody stop this
leaders. All right, we've heard enough from Blackstone. That's going to do it, folks. 71.5-hour break.
Remember that Cujo
We'll see you Monday.
Washington.
Ole Miss heads to College Station Saturday night to face Texas A&M.
Stiff arm, down he goes. Down he goes.
Coverage begins Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.